Here are your contenders for my choice in Record of the Year of records I picked up during the year and maybe which ones are my favorites. These are loosely in the order that they come, starting with the most recent. Driving and Crying, Live the Love Beautiful, Rachel and Vilray, Grace Potter, Psychedelic Porn Muffins, Lana Del Rey, Brittany Howard, Gabby Marino, Spangled, Chrissie Hynde, Valve Bone Woe, Sheryl Crow, Threads, some signed artwork that came with Rihanna Giddens, There Is No Other, Lo-Fi Soul, Haley Reinhart, Beth Hart, War in My Mind, Mercury Rev, The Delta Sweetie, Peter Frampton Band, All Blues, Robert Randolph and the Family Band, Brighter Days, Billie Eilish, the new Jennifer Warnes album, the new Tanya Tucker album, the new Sleater-Kinney album, Earworms, the Duke Robillard Band, Calexico, Iron and Wine, the Loser Edition, Phoebe Lou, the Raconteurs, Special Edition, Lynn Stanley, Live at Bernie's, Lynn Stanley, London Calling, Rosie Flores, Simple Case of the Blues, Record Store Day, the Tedeschi Trucks EP, Wynton Marsalis with the EP from Bolden, Record Store Day, Sarah Bareilles, Amidst the Chaos, Tedeschi Trucks Band, Signs, Billy Gibbons, The Big Bad Blues, Gary Hoy, Neon Highway Blues, Little Steven and the Disciples of Soul, Summer of Sorcery, Stephen Van Zandt, and The Flaming Lips, King's Mouth, Music and Songs. So there are your contenders. Bam! And they all fall down. Hey, vinyl community, and welcome YouTubers from everywhere to my top favorite record of 2019. Just a little criteria here before we start. This only includes new music that was issued in 2019. And I set a few criteria when I picked the best record of the year or the top record of the year. Not necessarily my favorite. It has to add that little bit of extra, something long-lasting, something innovative, something new that makes it a little more special, and not necessarily just the favorite one I listened to. Last year, Jack White's Boarding House Reach I picked as the best record of the year. That's of the records that I acquired, but it wasn't my favorite. My favorite record last year was down in about 4th place. So we'll get on with the review this year. I'm going to do it a little different. This is the 4th year. I've done it different each year. And I'm going to talk very little or not at all about most of the records. If you have a question, you can leave a message down below and I'll tell you what I think. But we're going to focus just on the top 10 records this year and with a little discussion of them up to the top 3. And for those of you who aren't interested in all of this stuff, I will leave a link down below so that you can just jump to the conclusions. So let's let them roll. Hey, Lo-Fi Soul, am I giving anything away? You'll just have to wait and see. Here are records 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now these are in no order. Anyone could be 7th or anyone could be 10th. And before I show these, just let me say I didn't get a bad record last year. I enjoyed all the records, and as we all know, on any given day, any given mood, any number of these could have been shuffled around. But I love Jack White and the Raconteurs. Don't have the light right, and I got the plastic on here, but love this record. And also this last year they redid their 2008 Raconteurs, and they did the 7-inch that includes 2 of the songs off of the new album that I just showed. And I love the tune Now That You're Gone, and I love the YouTube video that goes along with it. So Help Me Stranger. Here's one that was maybe a surprise. This is just an EP. The Tedeschi Trucks Band, High and Mighty. And this is all analog. It's an audiophile record. It is a single LP, 45 RPM. The sound is fantastic. The music they picked on here was outstanding, and this record could have easily went up higher, especially if it was more than an EP. Well, you want some more Tedeschi Trucks? That's another one in my top 10. Early in the year, they come out with this record, Signs. Again, all analog, double LP. Outstanding. This is kind of the Tedeschi Trucks Band. You might call it a small big band. And just outstanding. You can't go wrong with that record. I'm a big fan of Lynn Stanley. She came out with 2 records last year. This is kind of in the middle of my sweet spot. American songbooks. Here she's doing a lot of Julie London kind of songs. This is an audiophile record, direct to disc. Recorded live at Bernie's. That's Bernie Grunman. They clear out his lobby and set up a recording studio, and they're in there singing live while he's cutting the lacquer. And I've included this in my top 10 because it takes some guts to do a record like this, and it takes real professional musicianship. So that's 7, 8, 9, and 10. What's next? St. Vincent. What's she doing here? She didn't even make a record last year. But here's a few people that did. One I really like, Lo-Fi Soul, Haley Reinhart. Now we're in the 4th, 5th, and 6th place in no particular order. This might be 4th place. All originals, all outstanding, and just really excellent. And this is an example. This record came out in 2019, but that's one of the little problems that we have now with what records when they come out. This record didn't ship on vinyl till about 6 months after the music was available online. And I think is the case with a lot of our records. They say 2018, but there's a good chance often if they were later in the year that the vinyl didn't come till 2019. I've not included any of those, but Lo-Fi Soul, not lo-fi. Outstanding songwriting, singing, musicianship. Here's one that was new to me, Grace Potter. I've shown some of these previously, so you've seen them. All originals, great variety. Her husband plays a number of instruments and is on the record and co-produced the record with her. It's hard to write good new songs that really grab you. Pretty much every song on this record does, and this was kind of a surprise. Well, what's one of the things you're seeing? You've heard me say forever, my favorite category of music, female vocals, no matter the genre. Sorry to say, that's more the case this year than ever. In my old age, I'm just going for comfort. Whoa! This one might not be as comfortable as you think. Norman effing Rockwell, Lana Del Rey. Now, she's a favorite of the teenage girls. She was a favorite of the teenage girls. So her biggest fans were all young girls. on her first 3 or 4 records. I'm not sure how many she has. This is the first one I've picked up, but I've looked at some of the others. The songwriting, the lyrics are right up to date. Of course, parental advisory sticker on here. Double LP. Excellent. The sound is really good. This one was pressed, I think, in France and has a little higher noise level than you would like, but it doesn't really interfere with the sound. So there are number 4, 5, and 6, and not necessarily any order, but maybe that order. So, whoa, we're coming now to the top 3 records of 2019 for me. Bam! My 3 favorite records I picked up in 2019 of new music, I would say the top 3 in my collection this year. And I want to give a shout out to Discogs, because we in the vinyl community, I would be lost in the wilderness without Discogs. And it's just the information that's available to us today and is easily accessible, makes the music, finding the music easier but more enjoyable. Okay, coming in at number 3, Sheryl Crow, Threads. Now you might think, how does a pop record like this make a top 3? I'm going to tell you why. Okay, double LP. This is one of those records where she invites all of her friends to do a track with her. And I'm going to read them to you, starting off with Stevie Nicks. Next with Bonnie Raitt and Mavis Staples. Then Chris Stapleton. Then Chuck, Andra Day, and Gary Clark Jr. Eric Clapton, Sting, and Brandi Carlile. Johnny Cash, Neil Young. Jason Isbell, Keith Richards, Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, Joe Walsh, and what is this? Oh, St. Vincent finally made an appearance. She performs on here and she arranged that track, and it's great, but it's not my favorite track on this record as much as I like that, but we're not done. Luscious, Emmylou Harris, James Taylor, and Vince Gill. Now, what's one of the things that makes a record like this make the top 3? She put a lot of thought and effort into the tune selection, and there is great variety of the songs. There is great variety in the instrumental arrangements, and so what is my favorite on here? She picked this one, and she does, just before the St. Vincent one, Still the Good Old Days, featuring Joe Walsh. And if you like Joe Walsh, you never heard him or his guitar sound any better than on this record, and it's one of the longer tracks on this record. And that's why this record, which we might just think of as a pop record, actually makes it into the top 3. This record is just enjoyable, and there will be tons of stuff on here that you like. Okay, coming in at number 2, could have easily been number 1. This one recommended to me by Mazzy, Chrissie Hynde, Valve-Bone Woe, and I'll tell you about this record. He showed it, I checked it out. I thought that record's almost like easy listening. I'm going to order the record. I'll probably listen to this record as much or more than any record I've got this year. But one of the things that makes this record so good, I'm not going to be able to probably read here without my magnifying glass, but a wide variety of compositions and styles, a small orchestra, and then tons of strings added over the top of it. Just music you wouldn't expect, a Coltrane music, a Coltrane composition. Again, these are our Charles Mingus composition. I'm a Fool to Want You, gatefold, wonderful packaging. She is a painter. She does the cover art. She has a cocktail book out, a limited edition of her paintings. So this record is easy to get into, but it has depth that never ends. She doesn't dominate the record. She doesn't have to be singing all the time. Sometimes she's humming, making instrumental sounds. She lets the orchestra go on, and every time you listen to every turn, it brings a smile to your face. There's creativity in the arrangements, in the musicianship that are just unexpected. And that's why I picked this record, because, it's just first glance sounds like an easy listening record. But there is all the meat on the bone that you can stand with this record. Easy to get into. Well, maybe my top record of the year. Any of these three could be the top record, but I kind of laid them out. Most of you aren't surprised. Sleater-Kinney. This is the opposite of the Chrissie Hynde record. This record not so easy to get into. Yeah, it has a lot of depth. It's had a lot of controversy. The old-timers that like them don't like it because St. Vincent directed this record, and they might as well put St. Vincent's name on the cover. I think she's a creative genius. I think this takes a group that's 20 years old or older and brings them right up to date and puts them at the forefront of what's going on socially and musically. So this is my pick, record of the year, and it's been a great year for music, and I'm excited. I got stuff pre-ordered already. I got ideas for next year, and we haven't even finished this year yet, so keep them spinning. See you all down the trail.
Happy trails to you until